Hello, it's Amanda Kroll here. I'm here with my good friend Gloria. She's been a therapist for 35 years. She's been a therapist for 35 years, and she recently came to a therapist and coach connection hour. And she really enjoyed the presentation that we did last week on how to know that you have a practice that can attract private pay clients as opposed to insurance clients. But she had some questions, so we thought we'd go over it again. Um, I just wanted to return to the general ideas, and then Gloria can ask some questions and we'll see where we get. Does that sound okay with you? That sounds great to me. Okay, let's do it. So, Gloria, the story here is that um, we have to think about your practice as a product. Yes, as an actual product. It's really helpful to think of it as a product because then it feels a little less personal. So there are two ways, Gloria, that you can buy things in this world. There are things that you think of as commodities, and there are things that you think of as differentiated products. Now, a commodity, what's interesting about commodities, people will say, like, you don't want to become a commodity. And what they mean by that is that you don't want to be something that's considered to be as good as, but no better than all the other options. As long as you meet the general understanding or the general baseline level, you're just as good as anything else. But you're no better. That's the problem. So, things that are commodities include things like water. One drop of clean water is about the same as another drop of clean water. Cable service is another one. Pencils, gas. You know, when you're driving around town, you're looking for the cheapest gas, right? Because what difference does it make? Now, when you buy a commodity, it is always and everywhere a race to the bottom. It just always will be. And you'll never be able to build a private pay practice on a commoditized position in the market, right? So when we talk about commodities in the therapy market, what we are talking about in that case is the insurance model of therapy. So, therapy offered through an insurance company, people tend to treat it like a commodity. And so they're making choices not based on expertise and really good fit. They're making it based on things like is your office close to where I work? Is your office close to where I live? Do you look basically like somebody I could relate to? It's good if you're good at what you do, but I think of it as a commodity, right? Like the buyer, I'm always the buyer is always the person deciding whether what they're buying there is a commodity or differentiated product. It's always about the buyer's perspective. And when I'm looking through the manual for people who take my insurance, I'm really thinking of it as a commodity. And you care about location and convenience and price. That's all you care about, really, right? And as therapists, we really don't want to be seen that way, right? Like, we want to be seen as experts. We want to be seen as a differentiated product. And that's the other thing that you can be, right? You don't have to be something that is just as good but no better than the rest of the market. You can position yourself and encourage the buyer to see you as something worth going to some trouble for. And if you're looking for people who want to pay private, and at best they're going to get $85 back from their insurance, you need to be worth some trouble, because even just submitting it to your insurance is like a ton of paperwork. Of course, there are services that you can use to make that easier, but no matter what, it's not as easy as just giving your insurance card to the therapist and then not having to worry about it. So when you talk about private pay, Gloria, you really, really have to be looking for a way to differentiate yourself. Yeah, you really do. Okay, so how do I do that? Well, that's a great question, Gloria. And that brings us to what we were learning about in the Therapist and Coach Connection Hour last week. Basically, when you're looking to differentiate yourself, you have to show up in the market as somebody deeply and passionately committed to something specific. Something specific that the buyer will resonate with so strongly that they'll flip out of commodity buying and into differentiated product buying. Think about what it's like to buy a differentiated product. It's totally different than buying something you think of as a commodity, right? Like, if you're buying A very, like we said, pencils are a commodity. If you're buying a very expensive pen as a graduation gift, you're not doing what you do when you're buying pencils, where you like go in and you're like scanning for the cheapest pencil. Instead, you're like looking online and you're doing all of that research and you're like, what is the best pen? Suddenly you're in a totally different mindset and you're like, I will order and wait for it, right? Because you think of it as a differentiated product. That's the kind of mindset that you want people to bring to deciding to work with you. So, how do you do it? That's the question, right? That's the question. So, how you do it is that you have to show up as an advocate. Now, there are a lot of people talking about marketing, and they are often talking about how you market for things like status, using scarcity and urgency and things like that. That's hard for a therapist to do because people are in so much pain when they come looking for therapists. Nobody's looking for a therapist just for the fun of it. I think I might go. Very few people. I don't want to say no one, because I do know people who are like, I just love having a therapist. I just love having someone to talk to. But even that person, if they're going to go to trouble in private pay and have to go through reimbursement or just pay for it themselves, they're going to want to feel like the person they found is the perfect person for them. Like the perfect person, right? Okay, so Gloria here specializes in helping puppets to overcome their limiting beliefs about what they can do because they're a puppet, so they can have the life that they love. Now, there are 3 parts to that statement, right? The first one is a person that you know you are, right? You have to identify the people that you love working with in a way where they read it and they're like, that's me, right? Like, that's me. Now, Gloria works with puppets. And I think we all know if we're a puppet or not. I am not a puppet, so I probably wouldn't work with Gloria. How can you say you wouldn't work with me? I'm a great therapist. I can help anyone with anything. I'm a really great therapist, and I don't want to turn people like you away just because you're not a puppet. So maybe I should say, I work with women, puppets or otherwise. Now, Gloria, you cannot be afraid of turning people away. You are commoditizing yourself. You have to speak in such vague terms that nobody's going to feel really, really compelled to reach out to you. I know that it is scary. It is very scary to put yourself out there and declare something. But here's the really cool thing. If you go on to say that you help with puppets to solve a problem I know I have, and I can get a vibe from you that even though I'm not a puppet, you're still probably the best therapist for me because you so completely understand my problem. I do understand. I know. And I will call you still and I'll say, I really liked the way that you were talking about my problem, and I'm not a puppet. Will you still work with me? And what would you say? Of course. I would love to work with you. Well, exactly. But you also have to talk about a problem they know they have, right? And this one is where kind of the rubber hits the road. You have to get into the way they talk about their problem. And a good way to know if you've gotten into that headspace is if you are speaking about their problem the way they would at 3 o'clock in the morning when they woke up in the middle of the night and they're looking at their phone, which BTW, don't do that. And they're Googling something in panic, right? So this is the difference between talking about a problem like on Psychology Today pages, often I see people saying, reacquaint yourself with who you are. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't type that into Google at 3 o'clock in the morning. Instead, if I was, really struggling with my marriage, I'm communicating, why is my marriage falling apart, right? So they are different in the sense that on the one hand, it's what you kind of know you should say about your problem, like it's you're anticipating what maybe the solution is, versus I viscerally feel this way. So we've got a person we know we are with a problem that we know we have, using the words of the actual client. And then the third piece of it is that you have to make it easy for them to say yes to you. And the best way to make it easy for people to say yes is to tie your service to something they know that they should invest in. People go to therapy for love and work. And if you can tie it to love or you can tie it to work, you can convince people it's worth investing in. People know that they have to invest in their relationships. It's the second easiest thing to invest in. The first easiest thing to invest in is money. And so, but it will not be easy for people to invest with somebody who doesn't believe in what they say, right? So if you really love helping people repair their relationships, it doesn't make sense to try to tie that to money. So you want to make sure you're doing the one that's deeply in integrity with you. So there are other things that people will invest in. They'll invest in spiritual growth often, in physical health often. And what's really curious is that people don't always invest in the thing that they need the most, right? Like a lot of people say, oh man, I just wish I had more friends. I just wish I had community. I wish I had people to lean on. But they don't invest in those things unless there's pain associated with the relationship they know they should value. They really have a hard time investing in community, even though community is the thing that they need the most, right, Gloria? Don't you agree? Oh, yes. Everybody needs community. Okay, Gloria, so you need community? Mm-hmm. So, but would you give me $50 to come hang out with an amazing community? I don't know. Right, but would you give me $50 if I told you you could get $150 back? Mm-hmm. See, that's the difference, right? We don't know how to know that we're making a good investment in community, but we know how to make a good investment when we're talking about significant relationships or love and career or money. So one of the things that you want to do when you're talking about your practice is helping people to realize that what you're offering is a good investment. And so in the three things that you want to be able to have, you want to be able to say, I work with a person that you know you are on problems that you know you have using words that you've given me in that solution is tied to things that you know you can invest in or that it's smart to invest in. Your positioning statement, Gloria, is I work with puppets because that's the vast majority of your clients, right? Mm-hmm. I mostly work with puppets. It's true. I actually don't have any human clients at this point, but you never know. And I'm still really nervous about the idea of turning away all those humans. I understand, Gloria, but here's the thing. We're just going to try it out. I always tell my clients that you don't have to marry this niche right now. You just have to be willing to date it. Date my niche? Yes, date your niche. And dating a niche means that you're going to really go for it. You're going to see what it's like to actually talk about your practice in those narrow, specific, and passionate ways. You have to be willing to give it a shot for a couple of weeks. Can you do that? And then if you feel like, you know what, this is a bunch of bunk, it doesn't work, then you can go back to the way you did it. But I want you to really go for it. Can you do that? Okay, so what I want you to do is to put together a statement that sounds like this. This is mine. I help coaches and therapists get more clients so they can make more money. You know, are you a coach and a therapist? You know, right? Mm-hmm. You know if you need more clients, right? Mm-hmm. And you know that you want more money. See, therapists are really nervous to say that they want more money. And a lot of people are. Money makes people uncomfortable. And I've decided for myself that that's part of my mission. I want therapists to realize that they're running a business and that they're putting a lot of effort in and that they should be compensated and that they should work with clients they love and that it's okay to want those things. So it's important to me that I sort of position myself in that space, even though I know it would make therapists a lot more comfortable if I said, I help you get more clients so you can have a bigger impact. Yeah, I know you like that better. A person that you know you are with a problem that you know you have tied to an investable outcome. So for Gloria, she helps puppets. And the problem they know they have is that they're all sitting around saying, like, just because I'm a puppet, I probably can't do all the things that humans do. And that they really struggle with that. Gloria's told me they really do. And so she helps them overcome those limiting beliefs so that they can rise to their potential and do all the things that humans do because they can, right? Mm-hmm. They really can, right? All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to go out into the world Gloria, I want you to go out into the world, meet some people, and tell them this XYZ statement. See how they respond. If they say, my goodness, how interesting, then you know you've lost them. If people are interested, either it isn't for them, or they're like, I don't totally know what you're saying, so never mind. We want them instead to be like, wait, what? How do you do that? What do you mean? Tell me more about that. Then you know you've got them. That is the reaction that you want to have. And as soon as we have a niche statement that hits people that way, then we can start putting it into the website and on the Psychology Today profiles and that kind of thing. Now, creating a niche statement is not something to be done in isolation. You do need community. You need some help. And so Gloria and I are here to help you. If you would like, down below you see a little button that will take you to a place where you can book a call and we can talk about your niche statement as you put it together so you go out into the world. I would love to help you with that, right, Gloria? Oh, yeah, she's a great help. And hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye. Say bye, Gloria. Bye, Gloria.